What is up, YouTube? I'm Muframe. Welcome back to the channel. We are continuing our series comparing the PlayStation 5 base model with the PlayStation 5 Pro. Today, we're bringing it all together. This is the ultimate PS5 versus PS5 Pro anthology. Every test, every breakdown, every moment in one place. So if you've been wondering if it's time to stick with the PS5 or time to upgrade to the Pro, you're about to find out. In Baldur's Gate 3, the PS5 Pro's advanced hardware allows for higher graphical settings, which results in more detailed character models, sharper environments, and faster load times compared to the base PS5. And as we're waiting for this game to load, I'd like you to keep one thing in mind. Baldur's Gate and Elden Ring are both titles that are approaching 3 years old now. It serves to reason that, given some of the new technology and advancements that Sony has claimed to have implemented in the PS5 Pro, newer titles will be much more likely to be able to take advantage of things like the super spectral resolution and increased memory in the GPU. And we see we've got almost 5 seconds load time difference between the consoles. And as you may be able to see in these images, not drastically different, but this is one of those instances where if you are able to view this side by side on a 4K HDR screen, you would notice a slightly higher level of detail in the Pro, and the way some of those textures pop in. Although, interestingly enough, I do prefer the water texture on the base Model 5. Now, if you have spent much time playing Baldur's Gate 3 on the PS5, you'll notice certain textures take quite a long time to load. It can be quite jarring and actually break the immersion as you encounter a really low-res texture and wait for it to load. Occasionally, you still encounter this on the Pro. You'll see the train tracks, and it loads on the left, and we're still waiting for the base model to load the texture. This, to me, is one of those areas where the Pro really starts to stand out and really distinguish itself from the base model. I have really been enjoying Death Stranding 2. I was really curious to see how the base model would stack up against the Pro, so grabbed some footage, threw it side by side. Really interested to hear your thoughts. The base model seems to be performing extremely well. And to be totally honest with you, there were times I had some difficulty telling the footage apart. After spending quite a bit of time going over the footage and playing the game on both consoles, I can say there are some very slight quality of life improvements on the PS5 Pro and a very slightly higher level of detail on some of the textures and shadows, lighting effects, but I'm telling you, you will need to sit very close to the screen to notice them. So this is great news. If you own the base model and you're really excited to play this game, you are not going to be getting a compromised performance or presentation. So which version do you prefer? Can you even notice a difference? Now, at launch, Alan Wake 2 was certainly one of the most beautiful console games I had ever played. The textures were very detailed, although the performance did suffer from the occasional frame drop. You'll see in the side-by-side, we've got the base model performance mode and the PS5 quality mode. You see you start to get some blurriness on those water reflections and in the distance in the performance mode. Now the Pro seeks to address this with a Pro quality, Pro performance, and a balance mode. If you are looking for a quality type presentation with a 60 frame per second performance, the Pro can deliver that for you when using the Pro Balanced or Pro Performance mode. Let's look at some further comparisons. You'll see on the Pro, we're getting much more realistic type reflections in the water on the pavement. You'll also notice there are shadows under the leaves that would be sitting on a shallow puddle of water. Just some small details you start to notice. The smoothness of the character movements. We are now in the Pro Balanced versus the 5 quality. It's hard to tell, but once the character starts moving, you begin to notice those extra frames on the Pro. And I think this is the real sweet spot. The PS5 Pro Performance mode, getting a solid 60 frames without compromising too much on the graphical fidelity. Now, this is something that really stood out when playing Alan Wake 2 on the PS5. There were these sort of bizarre light aberrations or artifacts, the way it would scatter on certain surfaces. As the camera pans, you're going to see it on the PS5 in quality mode. It's almost like we're getting light particles scattering over this surface. This issue is not present in the Pro. Rather, you see reflections in that picture frame and some enhanced detail on those straws or chopsticks, those utensils on the bar. See, you've got it also in the base model performance. And comparing all 3 PS5 Pro modes, you see that these light artifacts are not present in any of the modes on the Pro, although we do get some slightly more pixelated light beams in the Balanced. But in any case, all 3 modes look excellent. Have you played Alan Wake 2 on the PS5 or on the Pro? Do you have any thoughts about these comparisons? Can you notice any significant differences? And for you, is it worth the upgrade? Let us know in the comments. At nighttime, we noticed something quite interesting on the Pro. See, the raindrops hitting the pavement make ripples and warp that light reflection on the pavement. We do not get this effect on the base model. What are your thoughts on Alan Wake? Let us know as we move on. Spider-Man 2. As a first-party PlayStation title, which has been optimized to run on the hardware, it should come as no surprise that this game runs very well on either console, but you'll notice significantly more reflections on Harry's shirt. Slightly smoother performance on the Pro. Both consoles are running the quality resolution mode. The biggest difference for me, and this is really saying a lot, like this game is extremely well optimized for this hardware, but on the PS5 Pro, the textures in the distance are going to load just a second faster. And to be fair, unless you slow down the footage, which we'll do in a moment, you're really not going to notice. As we bring it up, I want you to keep an eye on this mural in the background. I'll highlight it with an arrow here. You'll see as the higher resolution texture of this mural is swapped in from the lower res texture, it's a little farther away on the base model and very much less noticeable on the Pro. Now we're moving on to an absolutely beautiful game, Black Myth Wukong. We've recently started a playthrough on our other channel. I will link that off to the side. But let's take a look at how the Unreal Engine 5 is performing.
Yeah, you see what bliss my fate shows.
Luck's around the corner. Seems like he just fell from a fruit tree here.
Perfect timing. This Peach knew I needed a snack. You sneaky rascal! Daren't fool me! I'll make...
Comparing quality modes, it is evident that Unreal Engine 5 provides a beautiful visual experience on either console. I have been playing performance on the Pro. That really is a sweet spot to get a great visual experience without compromising too much on the performance side. This is a demanding game at the best of times, and for me, having played both consoles, the Pro gives a slightly smoother, more enjoyable experience. Now, putting opinions of the storytelling devices of this game aside, this was certainly a game that pushed the PS4 hardware to the limit. And with this remaster, we'll compare the Pro fidelity versus the base Model 5 fidelity. It stands out to me not so much more detail, but on the 5, textures are slightly blurrier. And just a bit smoother on the Pro. But in all honesty, you're going to get excellent performance from either console. And you really have to appreciate what a beautiful game this is. And, to realize this released on the 4 kind of makes me hopeful that, we really haven't seen the potential of this console generation fully realized yet. When playing this title, it is quite apparent you're getting some extra frames and a much smoother performance with the Pro, especially in the fidelity mode. And I think this is a good example of Sony's PSSR, the proprietary AI-based upscaling technology, which allows for higher resolutions and frame generation without compromising performance. If this is the direction that the technology is going, it's a good one.
I've apparated to more vaguely defined destinations than this. Though I confess I may have miscalculated slightly on...
Are you inclined to pick up the PS5 Pro? Do you notice any differences in this title between the base model and the Pro? Let us know.
Absolutely, sir.
Good. Let's see if we can find a path, however faded it may be. Mind your step.
Moving on to the Decima engine. Horizon Forbidden West is an absolutely breathtaking game, and it truly demonstrates the power of the Decima engine. With games like Death Stranding 2 being released soon, I think this game can give us a good example of what to expect with some of the terrain. So comparing the resolution modes of each console with the performance. Did any of these results surprise you? Are you any closer to purchasing a PS5 Pro? Let us know. Are there any other games you would like to see us compare? YouTube compression is going to reduce some of the detail that you would otherwise see on a 4K high refresh rate screen. And in person, after reviewing this footage, I found sitting approximately 5 to 10 feet away from the screen, the details are much less noticeable. So, for an older title like this, there is a slight visual improvement in terms of level of detail on the PS5 Pro. Now, in areas like the capital outskirts, you do notice a higher level of detail in the distance on the Pro. Booting it up, the first thing that hits me is the faithfulness. The level layouts, identical. The cutscenes, same motion capture, frame for frame, as Kojima directed all those years ago. It's like the past frozen in amber, just running through a modern engine. And honestly, something kind of magic about that. The game looks beautiful. We've got global illumination, bouncing through the leaves in the jungle. The character models are detailed down to individual threads of Snake's fabric and stubble in his beard. The shadows are sharper, the foliage richer. It's like a time capsule, but in 4K. Well, almost. But here's the issue: performance. On base PS5, you get two modes: performance at 60 FPS or a quality mode at 30. And let's just say performance mode struggles. The jungle firefights, when swimming underwater, the frame rate can dip noticeably. Quality mode looks nice. And I will say that because this is largely a PS2 game that's been transplanted into PS5 hardware, it's, if you could imagine it like this: imagine playing your PS2 with a DualSense controller. That's how it feels in these modes. At least in the quality mode, running 30 frames, the character movements have a certain weight to them that you remember if you've played the original on the original hardware. But what really is surprising is the PS5 Pro. You'd expect things to be better. Instead, Konami locks you into one hybrid mode, the visuals of quality, aiming for a 60 FPS performance, and for the most part, you're not noticing frame drops or stutters, but in certain sequences, they are definitely there.
I have seen the gates of oblivion, beyond which no waking eye may see. Behold, in darkness, a doom sweeps the land.
And at first glance, there aren't many noticeable differences. But as we go, it almost appears as if the PlayStation versions have some sort of color filter applied. You'll notice with the 4070, it appears much more true tone. Now, this could be a matter of preference. It could be a result of the hardware. But the lighting with the 4070 seems to produce much more of a realistic image. You're really going to begin to notice some differences with the reflections on the water surface. Much more fluid type reflection motion with the Pro compared to the 5. The 4070 just appears to handle lighting, reflections, and the light scattering on the surface of water much differently than the PlayStation hardware. I can't necessarily say if I have a preference, although it appears that the 4070 is producing much more of a photorealistic type presentation. Although I must say I do enjoy the vibrancy of the PS5 Pro. What do you prefer? Do you notice a significant difference? Let us know in the comments. Now, you probably wouldn't believe if I told you how long it took to get identical raining conditions in all three versions, but I think it was well worth the effort to get this comparison. And we'd be very interested to hear your thoughts. Do you have a particular preference? Are there any key differences that stand out to you? Let us know. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button. And if this is not your first time here and you've not yet subscribed, consider hitting that button. It costs you nothing and it lets me know that this is the type of content that you enjoy. Thank you so much for all of the support, and until next time.